Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mikhail, and welcome back for the third last time this season, at least from myself, for the Americas division. It is, of course, MRL season number 4, round 20, the Mexican Grand Prix. And just like what last week, joining me is my lovely fellow countryman, Mr. Sebastian. Seb, how are you doing on, well, for us, very at least sunny for me, but don't know how it is for you. But how are you doing? Looking forward to this Mexico race.
I'm cold, but nonetheless happy to be there. How are you yourself, Mikhail?
I'm doing very, very well indeed, Seb. And boy, oh boy, Mexico is a track where there can definitely be some very, very intense racing. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get the stream working for the Tier 3 earlier today, but it should be a good race nonetheless. We've had some great, great races here over the couple of seasons that we have had. Circuit now on your screens, ladies and gentlemen. 4.3 kilometers, 2.67 miles, 17 turns, 3 DRS zones to help with some overtaking. And this track, it has a very, very nice mix of high speed, middle speed, and some low speed technical sections. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Some parts of the track will suit others, some will not suit others. We will tend to see low downforce setups here, as we have those big long straights, the two DRS straights from turn 17 to 1 and 3 to 4, as well as the implication of 11 and 12. That little DRS straight will help those who want to stick within that DRS range, who have higher downforce setups. Obviously, this is more of a wheel track than is a pad track, but the pad is still suited around here, especially to that last sector and a bit of that first sector, but the wheel is obviously very much suited to that second sector, the windy S's of 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, Miguel.
Yes, yes, indeed. And we'll have to see how the drivers cope with the 36 laps that are about to unfold. Just a quick look where we've been. We've already been through, well, basically the entire calendar. Rounds 1 through to 19 already completed. Australia, Bahrain, Vietnam, China, Netherlands, Spain, Monaco, Baku, Canada, France, Austria, Britain, Hungary, Belgium, Italy, Singapore, Russia, Japan, and the US of A last week. And today we'll be here for the third to last round, Mexico round number 20. Next week we head further down south, down the Americas continent, and we head into South America for the Brazilian Grand Prix before we round things off in 2 weeks' time in Abu Dhabi. So very, very good to see things going on smoothly. And once again, a massive shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. If you're looking to take your sim racing experience to the next level with some racing sim rigs, motion sims, even some flying flight simulator stuff, exclamation mark NLR in the chat to head to their website. They've got some a great range of products regardless of what you are looking for. Now, Seb, as we're just about to get things underway, we'll have a quick look at the current championship standings. So both the drivers and the constructors champions have been crowned for this division. Becky B putting in a very, very consistent, very, very solid performance all throughout the season. And along with his Williams teammate Yama, they have both clinched the constructors title as well for the Williams, with a, as you can see on your screens, a massive, massive lead over AlphaTauri. But that doesn't mean that all the fighting's over. No, no, no. There's still quite a few positions there to play for, especially that coveted second place position set. We've got CJOS for McLaren on 183 points. What is that? 12 points ahead of Alex Yamamoto, the hometown hero, the Mexican, looking to make it a Williams 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship come the checkered flag in Abu Dhabi. The Brazilian Rhapsody for Mercedes in fourth place with 147 points. He still has a chance to get that second place spot, but he'll have to watch out for BTFU, the flying American from Arizona, in that AlphaTauri car, currently sitting in fifth place with 130 points. Those guys are all fairly clear of Zamis in sixth place for Ferrari with 87 points, but he has to watch his back for the other hometown hero on this grid, Seb. I'm going to try this. Cordova? I don't know. Angel there for Racing Point with 83 points, only 4 points between those two. We have Karma with 60 points, 2 points ahead of Chris in the other Racing Point. And then Casquito rounds off the top 10, tied with Maxime B on 44 points. So we'll have to keep a lookout for those two as well. Fisher and Gabisum in quite a battle of themselves there with Vischer for AlphaTauri ahead of the Red Bull Gabism in 12th and 13th respectively. 3 points separate those two with 35 and 32. Then we have the two Alfa Romeos of Gabox and Holtzman, 29 and 26 apiece. And then we have Fizimon and Guiza, the Red Bull and Mercedes, battling out for 16th place in the championship at the moment. Currently tied on 21 points as well, Seb. So quite a few tied duels to look out for in this third to last round. Chiri in 18th with 15 points. Twinkie with 12 for Renault. And then Strithium rounds off things with 6 points. And then just quick look at the Constructors' Championship. Looks like, Mercedes and Renault, as well as the Racing Point, actually, all very, very close together, all within 11 points of each other for that fight for 4th place in the Constructors' standings, as well as Haas and Ferrari, very, very close, with only 2 points separating them. But as we said before, the Williams team have rounded out the Constructors' Championship. AlphaTauri have to watch their back for McLaren as well. They're getting very, very close there. And Seb, I do believe we are just about ready to get things underway.
Yeah, we are just keen to look at Chris and the way he progresses in this championship. Obviously, strong outing at USA. Only just been out by Fritzen, I believe, the reserve driver, who is in today, I believe. In the is he in today? I have to check just real quick.
I do believe he is. We do have a couple of very, very fast reserves, which we will see in a few moments. Those including the head of the Pirates, Mr. Jack Sparrow, Summit Cody. Very, very fast indeed, and he loves this place, Seb. He absolutely loves this place. You know, Checo Perez, his favorite driver. I do believe his girlfriend's Mexican as well. And he has very, very fond memories here. A lot of pace under that car, and I believe he will be filling in for our America's champion, who unfortunately can't be here this evening. But we're just a few minutes away, well, a few moments away, if you want to be exact, 20 seconds or 30 seconds away from the Mexican action. And I'm curious to see, Seb, how the two hometown heroes, or home country heroes, if you want to put it that way, how they go. We have Angel for Racing Point and Alex Yamamoto for Williams. How do you think they'll be able to go, considering, their sort of current place in the championship, Seb?
Well, I've got strong hopes for both of them, to be honest with you. I know Angel drove a little bit in that APAC division where I did commentate a bit. He showed some good pace. Yamamoto as well. He could really do some good stuff, get a podium here, potentially. We know Becky B obviously isn't racing, but he's kind of been pipped by some of these other drivers that have come along later in the season. He's done good enough to wrap up the championship very early, along with his teammate Yamamoto, who is racing here. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It's obviously a very tight field. We saw USA, we had some very good battles that kind of came about over the race, and they'll tend to merge together as this race goes along. But this is a DRS train of a circuit, and pit stops tend to muffle that up a bit.
We'll just get things set up, and it does look like it will be clear skies for qualifying, so we'll see if all these, at least the top end of the field, can get to the predicted lap times that they have said that they can do. I know Chris being one of them, saying he can be very, very quick around the circuit. I believe the current track record is set by Chenjay from last season in the club division of 112.8. So we'll see if the front runners can get anywhere close to that, and if the previous 19 rounds or anything to go by, Seb, there is a very, very strong chance of it, especially with some of the fast reserves on this grid. So Seb, as I think both Williams actually first out the garage, I think it's actually some idiot leading the two. Why don't you take us through who will be the 20 drivers on this grid for this evening?
Yeah, we have Maxime B in the McLaren Gabism in the Red Bull. Melek and Chris are teammates in the Racing Point. Vischer, BDFU are the teammates in the AlphaTauri. C. Josh are teammates of Maxime B is also here today, with Zamis and Strifium always together in that Ferrari pairing. Yamamoto in that Williams, as I said before, while Will Gibson and Cascado in the Renaults are together. Fritzen reserving with Rhapsody. Rhapsody, a driver with the most penalty points to his name at the moment. While Chiri is with Karma. Some idiot, as I said before, with Yamamoto. Fizimon, Tholtz, Gavox, and that is our grid for today. Hopefully I didn't miss anyone there.
Yeah, so the three reserves on this grid are, I believe, or 4 actually. Got Melik, we've got Will Gibson, we've got some idiot, and I believe is Fritzen here? Yeah, Fritzen in that Mercedes. So 4 drivers to look out for. But Seb, as it looks like Cody, Jack Sparrow, head of the Pirates, is about to start a lap. Take us around the Autodromo de Hermanos Rodriguez, if you please. I think, well, he's doing he's actually giving a tow, I think, to Yama. So we'll go on board with Yama instead, who's getting a nice tow down to the turn 1, Seb.
Yep, so just going to wind your way down to turn 1. Want to get that car over to the left, prepare yourself, this is a good tow he was given. Brake around 100 meters. Just wind that car in. You want to miss that first curb, take a bit of that second and a lot of that third one, just to get that car into the corner. Outside curb as well, flat out, DRS open. Wind your way to the right. You might want to brake on the curb, you might not. It just depends how that car winds up. He does. He slings it in, gets that inside curb, and you want to wind over to the left as fast as possible to get that good run out of turn 4 and 5. Now out of 6, exit curb as well. Take that outside curb into the entry of 7, and now you're going to ride all these curbs of 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Very windy, very twisty, very hard to take, but when you nail it, it's very rewarding. DRS open, down to 12, braking on that curb. Take some of that inside of 12 as you got a bit wide. It hasn't invalidated though. This is a tricky part. 13, 14, 15. Just got to make sure you don't lose the rear end. And that is a lap of circuit. Ooh, I nearly messed that up there. I'm just going to say Mexico because
the Mexican circuit. It is the 113.4 for Alex Yamamoto and Fritzen first right now with original pole with a 113.215. Rhapsody in the other Mercedes a 15.0 on the mediums. Melik with a 115.7 as well on the medium compound. We'll have a little look. I think actually Cody is going around yet again on a slow lap. So we'll jump aboard with Chris, one of the favorites here, showing a lot of pace, especially around tracks like Singapore. We saw him take a very dominant win. We'll see what he's able to do around this circuit. I'll have to keep an eye on him going through the first sector. DRS wide open as he makes his way down the second DRS straight into the heavy braking zone of turn 4 and 5. Rhapsody, you see there on the left hand side, getting it nicely out of the way through the double apex of turn 6. Doesn't use the AstroTurf on the exit, which is very, very interesting. But we'll see how this banker lap goes. You know, a lot of track limits, very, very strict around here, Seb. So we need to see. I'm pretty sure we won't be seeing them go flat out just yet, so early in the session. Just trying to get that banker time in to make sure that they have at least something to work off.
Yeah, you're right. I say all the time, and I'm not sure people get sick of it, but qualifying is all about building up to that final lap. You can get 4 laps in here at Mexico, but you're not necessarily going to get them all in on the softs potentially. This is a one-stop circuit. You want to go for the one-stop here. A soft hard, but you don't know with these drivers. These guys are all very good timers. As you know, Chris last time around pitted early at USA, and he just about made those tyres last, but he was at 80%, he was telling us at the final lap. So we'll see how this turns out, but race strategy could become slightly interesting if we have any safety cars, something like that.
Mon in the Red Bull, currently sitting in P4 now after his first attempt at 113.722. We'll now have a little look at the Ferrari of Zamis. Of course, Zamis, the founder of the Misfits. I'm glad to get you back here in the lobby with us, Seb. Just in time for Zamis to start his next attempt at a flying lap. I think this is actually his first attempt. But so far, grid looking fairly compact, at least in the top bit of it. Top 7, separated by just over a second. And then you have a massive gap back to Rhapsody on those medium compound tyres. Now, on the strategy, Seb, I do believe the word on the street is that the 2-stop actually is very, very strong. For those of you who were able to catch at least some of the Tier 3 race from some of the drivers' perspectives that they were streaming to themselves on Twitch, we saw Routanius actually do a last to third. Couldn't quite make it the last to first, but last to third on that medium soft. I know from experience that strategy can be absolutely deadly if in the right hands. So maybe that's something to look out for. But of course, the one stop is a bear if the drivers so choose. But I'm not entirely sure how many will actually be opting for it. Word is that the hards aren't the greatest tire.
Yeah, they aren't. No, they aren't really. It's just about making them last. At the end of the day, if you get caught in traffic here at the wrong time, i.e. second and third sector, you can really, really cost you.
Ooh, Zamis up into third place. That second row with a 1:13.529 on his first attempt. I do believe one of the McLarens is starting a lap in front of him. Well, look at Maxime B. It is CEST starting a lap. But Maxime B, he's about to end one, sir.
Yeah, I just saw Yamamoto's getting a nice toe from some idiot, but he had an interesting tactic of warming the tyres up at turn 13, just kicking out their rear end with his throttle.
Yeah, Maxime B across the line. Matches with Fizzymon exactly set. The 1:13.722. So absolutely nothing separating those drivers at the moment. Of course, the game knows who was faster. And it's Fizzymon slightly ahead. Unfortunately, we don't see those fourth or maybe even fifth digit. But Fizzymon ahead for the time being. Now CEST, he's in the fight with Yama for that runner-up spot in the Drivers' Championship. A purple Sector 2, Seb. We know how unreliable those can be from time to time, but is a promising sign. He's been on great form recently. Very, very consistent, going, that second, third place. I mean, sometimes dropping down to fourth and maybe potential win here, but he's on that front row at the moment, so the 1:13.342 for his opening run, and a purple final sector of that to boot, so it's only really that first sector that the McLaren driver needs to sort out. As Yama!
Yeah, potentially a higher downforce setup for CEST, maybe a bit higher front wing or rear wing, depending on how aggressive his setup is, suspension-wise. But yeah, it just looked like that car hooked up well out of turn 16, able to get it to the right of 17 to take the shortest line to the finish line for CEST. But Jesus, is a tight field so far.
Well, the short track and a field of skill as tight as it normally is, you expect these times to be very, very close together. And Yama ahead by, what is that, just over a 100th of a second, Seb. 100th separates the two fighting for that runner-up spot and a front row spot. And that's something we hadn't really considered. We talked about, at least I did with Stars, in Russia, that the second row actually can sometimes be more beneficial than that front row. And it's a similar case here as well, Seb. I believe this is the longest run of any of this tracks, the longest run into the first braking zone, just beating out Russia, as I was saying. So maybe that second row isn't the worst place to be for the start of this race.
No, I completely agree with you. Ideally, you do not want to start P1 here, even though P1 is the glorified spot everyone wants to aim for in qualifying. It's not necessarily the best here. You can get such a big toe just from P5 even. You'd see some people jump up to P2 from P5. So P3 is normally the ideal spot. Get a good toe from the two guys in front of you. Hopefully you get a good enough start. Spam that ERS. You might be able to get yourself into P1 by the end of turn 1.
Yeah, but you need to make that ERS count because that main straight absolutely eats it up like no tomorrow. I was watching Vischer there run slightly wide at the exit of turn 3, Seb, and that unfortunately is a red track map for the Chilean in that Alpha Tauri, so he'll have to go around again. 7.5 minutes remaining in this session. If you're just joining us, this is qualifying for the 20th round of MRL Season number 4. My name is Mikhail, and joining me is my fellow countryman Seb, both of us hailing from the great land down under in Australia. Now, we'll have to look and see who is next to go on a flying lap. I do believe the track is fairly quiet at the moment. Maybe Striffium? Yes, Striffium. We got a lot of viewers from his stream earlier doing some open lobbies in preparation for this race, and he runs very, very deep into turn 1, Sam.
Yeah, not exactly nailing that apex, but you kind of just want to get that lap in at this point. A 15.0, that's not a great time, he knows that. Don't need to tell him, but we just want to see out qualifying, get something sold out the way, and look to build on the race. The race is where it's all important. You don't win any points for qualifying, so
we'll see how it goes with the sprint qualifying that F1 is trying out in the real life season. But despite his large mistake at turn 1 Seb, he was only a half a tenth down on his first sector split. So that tells me that there is still a lot of time left, but I think he might have actually aborted this one. Yeah, 6 tenths down going into the final sector. That unfortunately is an aborted lap for the second Ferrari car. But it's nice to see him actually have a time on the board this early in the session. For the past couple of rounds, he's been living it up to one shot, and it hasn't quite been the best lap that he's been able to produce. So glad to see him actually have a banker time for once, even if it is a less than ideal banker. As CEST starting his next attempt with just under 6 minutes remaining. So we'll have a look at how this grid stacks up. There have been a few improvements around this grid. Fritzen currently now sitting on provisional pole. Improves his time to a 1 minute 13 dead Seb. A 1 minute 13.000. Very, very satisfying karma on that front row rhythm right now. And Chris building up a bit more confidence and down to a 13.3. I know he can go a lot faster than that, but we'll see how he goes when under the pump.
Here's CEST trying to get through this first sector and start this second. Doesn't look like car's entirely hooked up for him so far.
Oh, his little washout.
Yeah.
It's a turn 8. And he's boarded that one. Yeah, ERS down to 0. So he will have to either box or try again. And I believe his teammate right behind him is also on a lap at the moment. I think Cheery's actually ending a lap in the Haas. He goes up to 13th. The Spaniard with a 1 minute 14.511. Maxime B, you can see that red fuel light flashing. He's running on fumes. Seb, let's see if he hugs it tight for turn 17. Using that curve, gets the shortest run and he moves up a spot. He only improves by 5 thousandths of a second, but that's enough to jump him up a spot. Yeah, 5 thousandths ahead of Fizimon.
Just look up ahead. You see P6 and P7. We'd want to have another 1.300 gap from Zamis.
The Red Bulls are doing a massive toe. Gabby has so much speed heading into turn 1, maybe even a bit too much, locking that inside front. But that toe, you know, we've seen the Williams guys utilize it. We've now seen the Red Bulls use it, and you know, Red Bull, they might not be doing the best here in the Americas division, but in that combined constructors across the whole of the MRL, they are doing exceptionally well. And you can just see that teamwork and, you know, just trying to get the consistent points that Red Bull really need to aid their other grids. But 2 and a bit tenths up through the first sector, Seb. It's looking like a good one.
Yeah, that toe was absolutely massive. You could tell. You could tell as
he's thrown it all away!
Oh, no!
He's thrown it away. Needed to make this minor correction at turn 11, and that is going to be just so unfortunate.
Yeah, just before that corner happened, I was gonna say that at a turn 6, it looked like he lit up the rear tires, which might have affected that sector 2, and I think it did. Just judging about how his rear end stepped out a bit at turn 11.
Is he going again? He might be actually trying again. He hasn't turned that ERS off. Just under 3 minutes remaining in the session. Currently only 2 drivers without times. That is Vischer for AlphaTauri and the head of the Pirates, Jack Sparrow. Some idiot there for Williams. I know that.
He's invalidating.
Yeah, and Gabby's
I don't understand what he's doing. I thought he would have pitted.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be cutting it close now. 2.5 minutes left. Flying laps around a 1 minute 13 as it stands at the moment. So he's going to be cutting it very close to get another run in. And I'm pretty sure the Red Bulls are not going to be happy seeing their drivers start 10th and 14th at the moment, because you're right in the mix of it, and it's a long run down to turn 1, and it's a wide straight as well that sort of narrows up as you go into the apex.
Yeah, wide entries are never great for a turn 1. It's the last thing it's great for an overtaking opportunity, but it's never good. Oh,
Vischer is out. We'll run aboard with Striffium as he goes through the S, and there he is on the left-hand side, and he has completely totaled that car, Seb.
Oh, yep. He's definitely dropped that on probably the inside curb, I think. Too much rear end rotation, and he's not able to save it.
See if Zamis gets another look at it, and yes, he does. And it looks like some idiot retiring there in the pit. So the 2 without times are not going to set times at all in this session, whether by whether it's intentional or not. Zamis though, purple middle sector, up 2 tenths, just about. This could slingshot him onto the front row if he keeps it clean, but he doesn't! He doesn't! He runs off the track at turn 15, the pretty much non-existent corner at this rate. It's that little left-hander before the braking zone. Pretty much is the braking zone, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, that is going to be very, very unfortunate with just over 60 seconds remaining in the session. Fritzen currently sitting on provisional pole with a 1:13 dead. Yama on that second row with a 13.187, and Karma rounds off the top three with a .273. 300ths ahead of Chris, who himself is only 400ths ahead of CEST. So this final run is going to be crucial. Karma making his way in the final sector, about to start his flying lap just behind BTFU, who starts his final attempt. 30 seconds left in the session. We'll have a look at Karma as he takes a nice wide entry to maximize the top speed down this straight. But he has to really nail this DRS timing. Yes, he does. 17, 16 seconds. There's a bit of traffic there in that final sector. I don't know if everyone's going to really be able to get the lap in that they need. We'll have a quick look at these times now. So Karma through the first sector on this final lap. 3 seconds left on the clock. And he's invalidated, sir. I don't know if you're still here with us, but Karma has invalidated. Yama hasn't made the line. So those two are not going to be improving. Chris is in the final sector. He's up a 1/10 and a half. Is it going to be enough to get that front row, get that even pole position? The Racing Point going through the final corner. One of the favorites for pole. And he hasn't done it. 2 milliseconds.
Oh.
2 milliseconds off pole.
Fritzen's up.
And Fritzen
he's up half a tenth in his time.
He is up, so yeah, he is. It looks like Yama actually crashed into the pit wall, starting his final attempt. And that car still is there. Fritzen, can he improve? Yes, he does, by a whole 10th. A 1 minute 12.898, and I think that almost matches exactly the current track record. You might have to check that one for me, sir. As we saw Karma invalidated before. And there's a massive crash in the stadium. Will Gibson has spun it in the stadium, and that is going to cause a yellow flag right on the racing line. We'll have a look, and there he is. He's right there. No one can avoid him, and that, my friends, is qualifying over. No one's going to be able to prove not taking that optimal line through. And that is all she wrote for the 18-minute qualifying session. But what a lap from Fritzen and Chris yet again from Fritzen, the Indian there, just gets that tiniest of margin. We saw that last week in Americas, both in qualifying and in the race. And we've seen it here again in Mexico, sir.
Yeah, I just feel for CEST right now because he was up half a tenth in his time, and that was all gone away by Will Gibson, who lost it at turn 12. But yeah, once again, Chris and Fritzen, these two look like they're going to build a healthy rivalry as time goes on. But Fritzen just looks like he has that slight bit of skill over Chris at the moment. Maybe he's just hooking it up better, but I guess we won't know till the race.
Yeah, so unfortunately we didn't see the 13.5 that we were expecting from the American driver, but Fritzen on pole position with a 1 minute 12.898, 1/10 ahead of Chris, who will line up alongside him for the second race in a row. Yama, the hometown hero, a good qualifier for him, third place alongside Karma Lesson, the Argentinian in the Haas, rounding off the second row. CEST in 5th place for McLaren, a solid showing from him. Rhapsody will line up alongside him ahead of Zamis and Cosquito in 7th and 8th. And then we have Fizimon and Maxime B round out the top 10. And we'll go through the back 10 on the formation lap. But important to note that Summitit and Vischer, two very, very talented drivers. There's a lot of pace there on that back row of the grid, sir.
Yeah, we can see those guys make some moves as the race progresses, especially at the start. If you're a good starter here, which I believe those two are, you can really make some positions at the start. And I think they could be trying a one stop. That would be a medium to hard. That's the way to go if you want to do the one stop. But like you said, two stop is potentially better. It just all depends on how you drive the car, how you set up the car, and what the situation of the race is. But this is a track where you can do a two stop, and it tends to work out pretty well, but it's always pretty even.
Yeah, I mean, at least speaking from personal experience and from what we saw in the Tier 3 race, the two-stop does seem to be the better strategy. There are those overtaking opportunities. There are those long DRS zones, and we can get the slipstream down those long straights and make a lunge into the relatively hard braking zones. Not as hard as some of the other tracks that we've been to throughout the season. Even last week in USA, the turns 1 and 12 over there. But they are enough to really just get alongside and really squeeze out your opponents as they, well, try and hold on to that position. Now, the 20 cars are away on this formation lap, and Seb, what a mix of tyres in this back 10. Take us through this back 10 now, Seb, with the tyre choices that these guys have made for the start of this race.
Yeah, we have Malik and some idiot on the hard. You have to believe they're opting for that hard to medium. Will Gibson, Holtz, BDFU and Gabby are on those mediums, and the rest, Gabox, Thierry, Strip and Visha, are all on the softs, along with the top 10 of this field. So that's an interesting mix right there. I think we could be seeing a lot of difference in strategy here, but it'll be interesting to see how those medium runners play out their race, whether they decide to opt for a two-stop or they will do the one-stop onto the hard.
Well, it is a long round down to turn 1, and we've already seen 2 cars crash in qualifying. We saw Visha at turn 9 and 10, and then we saw Will Gibson reserving that Renault seat at turn 13. That happened in the stadium in that final sector of the lap. So safety cars aren't completely off the table, Seb. I don't believe we saw any in America, well, in the US of A last week, but I mean, with how much you have to push at a circuit like this, it's certainly possible, you know, especially as the softs really degrade really quickly here. So when the softs start to die, the dirty air, the heavy fuel through that middle sector, just trying to push that extra little bit to really make that pass into the braking zone of turn 12. It's going to be a very, very interesting race. 36 laps here at the Autodromo de Hermanos Rodriguez.
And now they're just all forming up. Fritzen on pole, obviously. Chris behind him. Yamamoto with a great view of these two. He'll be looking to make advantage of any mishaps that come their way. But they're both quality drivers, so it's unlikely to happen.
See somebody there taking his last spot on the grid ahead of this race. We'll have a look as the lights are ready to go on. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights here in Mexico. It's lights out and away they go. Looks like a pretty decent start from all these guys. One of the McLarens are having a great start there, but it looks like Chris and Fritzen going side by side, as well as Yama and I believe that's Karma there in the Haas going down into turn 1. We go. Chris has that inside line ahead of Fritzen. Can Chris take the lead into turn 1? Chris trying to look around the outside now of turn 2. All the guys behind them trying to make it there cleanly, but Chris, he looks like he has to run going down into turn number 4. He's adds his note ahead there, but Fritzen has that inside line. Can Fritzen hold on to that lead? Locks up both of them going into the technical section. There's still a side-by-side step. This is incredible, but looks like Chris is now ahead of the Mercedes reserve driver, and now Yama's following him through. Yama, the hometown hero, making his way into second place. That's exactly what the Mexican needed, as Fritzen is struggling on this opening lap.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything's hooked up for him. All that battling might have just made him lose all that rhythm and concentration as he's now trying to fight back and get that P2 from Yamamoto. Great job from Yamamoto to steal that position from Fritzen.
Karma as well, Rhapsody going side by side into the stadium. So this is looking absolutely insane. We're trying to get the position changes on your screen. Looks like Rhapsody having a great start there, but Chris as well. And the biggest one is actually... looks like we've had Casquito. I actually missed that. Sorry, guys. Casquito has had an issue on this opening lap. He's down 12.
Yeah, and look at
the other Renault. The other Renault, Will Gibson, has spun at the last corner as well. This is not looking good from the Renault squad today, but it's Chris that leads them into turn 1.
Yeah, Sejos going down for a move on the inside of Rhapsody. Rhapsody able to fend it off with that outside line of turn 1, swooping around. But yeah, just on Casquito, I believe he made a contact with one of the cars at turn 3, and that spun him around and dropped him all the way down the field. I don't know how he exactly got that penalty, though. It's
like Maxime B going up the inside of Zamis into turn number 4. Outside for 5. Can he get the traction that he needs to? And it looks like he does. He squeezes out that Ferrari and makes a move around the outside of turn 6. That's McLaren's now 6 and 7. And I'm sure that'll be exactly what they need as they chase down the AlphaTauris, who have had a an okay start, but they're not. Well, both cars for AlphaTauri not currently in the points, so McLaren looking very, very strong to take that Constructors fight all the way to the end as BTFU runs away. Speaking of AlphaTauri, runs right at turn 11, and it looks like Gabbox is going to use that run to make it all the way up into 11th place. So Gabbox, the net winner on the start here, up 5 places from his grid slot, Seb, as well as somebody there on those hard combat tires who's actually fighting with Vischer as we speak, going into the stadium. Looks like Vischer wanting to use those softs to good effect, as it looks like Fritzen now is trying to find its rhythm now, setting the fastest lap of the race so far, as DRS has now been enabled for the third lap of 36 here in Mexico, Seb.
Yeah, looks like the gamble from Gabbox to start on the softs all the way down in P16 has worked out. Meanwhile, Malik in a great position to, you know, steal some points out in the race. He's in a DRS position, but it looks like it might fade away. He's got to use that ERS he has, keep within DRS range of Fizimon and these top 10 drivers, or sorry, top 9 I should say, to make use of those hard tyres.
Vischer has a little look up the inside of Summit heading into the braking zone of turn 4, but nothing quite doing there just yet. The Chilean opting to play it safe for these opening few laps. It's a long race here, Seb, and track limits. We've already seen Casquero pick up a time penalty. You can see from the black and white flag there on the timing tower. The track limits are going to be very, very strict. Looks like somebody now, he's found his next victim, and it is the race winner, Holtz from Hungary, and Gabby's ahead of them, has had a little bit of an issue. All of them having DRS, but you can just see from that battery percentage, somebody has used a lot of that battery on the opening 2 laps. He's already down to around 40% going into the stadium section. Chris still leading them away. He's done very, very well, but we'll see if Yama and Fritzen have a little bit, will have something to say about it with this DRS assistance.
Yeah, Fritzen's at that gap on Yamamoto at the start of the straight. That's 4/10 where you could easily overtake him if it wasn't for the fact that Yamamoto had DRS to Chris right now. So Chris's game is just to make sure he keeps a nice 7/10 gap to Yamamoto.
Oh, don't look now, Seb, the fight for 13th. Holtz up the inside into turn 1 using that DRS, and he has gotten past the Gabby Sim. So Gabby down 1 further place, and that is really the break in the chain at the moment. You have this clump sort of from 1st to 9th, and there's a gap back to Melek, then there's a gap back to Holt in 13th. Strifium going side by side with Churi. He's fighting with the Haas Spaniard into this next technical section as Gabby and somebody going side by side through turns 4, 5, and 6, but it looks like Gabby at the medium tyre just switched on better than the hards at this stage of the race, and that Red Bull holds on to 14th place, but some idiot head of the Pirates, and well, Pirates are known for stealing things, and he's looking to steal that position away from the Red Bull now.
Yeah, he's got to make some use of these hard tyres. Obviously, they're not that good compared to the mediums. The mediums are normally the prime tyre for every track we go to, as they hold temperature well, but also don't fall off, and they have some durability to them. Obviously, they are the medium compound tyres compared to the soft and hards.
Fritzen has gotten that gap down to less than 2/10. Now he has a look up the inside, but it decides against the dive. But a massive lock up there from Yama in front of him might open up the door. He looks like the Mercedes reserves getting the best exit that he possibly can. He's got that ERS on. Zamas picking up a 3-second time penalty. Is it enough? Is he going to go for the dive? He has a look. Yama defense. There's contact between the two. There's contact between the two. Yellow flags there. Looks like Stripium's around at turn 2. That's the last thing that the Ferrari fans want to see, especially Stripium's fans over from his stream. But we just see that Yama defending extremely late. He's able to do that, but that's certainly going to cause Fritzen maybe getting a little bit agitated under that helmet of the Mercedes, sir.
Potentially, Yamamoto really getting the elbows out. He's not even just getting the elbows out, he's getting the hands out as well. Doing everything he can to keep Fritzen behind. I'm not sure how fair that defensive move was. It could have certainly ended in a crash. They definitely did touch, but I'm not sure if Fritzen has any damage to his name. But he certainly would be rattled from that.
Yeah, but the important thing for those two is that Chris hasn't been able to utilize that racing incident to his advantage. He's still got that DRS threat behind him. Chris looks like he is running enough well, straight line speed to be able to keep the Williams at bay. And actually, he's doing a great job controlling the lead of this race, Seb. He's got a full battery almost. As we see that Zamis and Fizimon having exchange at turn 1 as well.
I think this is what I was talking about before, how Chris needs to keep Yamamoto in his DRS range and just keep him at a comfortable distance where he can keep him behind him, but also keep Fritzen in this pack and not allow Fritzen out of it. That way he can just really pull away when that pit stop phase comes around. utilize that ERS that he does have.
Gabby, massive lock up into turn 4, trying to get past Holtz. The Alfa Romeo, they're doing a great job there in 13th place, but you can just see on that mini-map, Seb, there's a bit of a train between 1st and 7th, and you got Fizimon and Zamas having that little bit of a duel, and you just got these little clumps of drivers all together, and Holtz leading this train from 13th down into 18th. Is really holding up the guys behind him. Some idiot all over the back of this Red Bull DRS for the two of them down into the stadium section, the final sector of the lap, and it looks like some idiot there. Cody has made the move up into 14th, and now it is all eyes on this Alfa Romeo rear wing, Seb.
Oh yeah, some idiot. He's hooking it up nicely. Those hard tyres might be starting to come to life compared to those mediums. Bit of ERS to exit the corner, bit of DRS to come up, and he should just glide by Holtz down the inside. He should not fight this, and he won't. Easy move for some idiot, and he's got some space to make some work of it.
There's also a fight going on behind him as well. Looks like Chiri, a massive dive into turn 1, side by side with Casquito, the Argentinian, against the Spaniard, going through the first technical section. It isn't quite enough, and Vicious now got the run. Vicious now got the run on Chiri. They both got DRS. Overtake now is on for the AlphaTauri up the inside into turn 4, Seb. Looks like he's gotten that move done. Very, very nicely done there from the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, just made good work of that, didn't he? Got up
absolutely.
There. And Chiri just kind of, I wouldn't say caught napping, but wasn't really on it. He didn't really want to fight it too much, it didn't look like. So maybe he's just playing the long game here. Maybe saving some tyres. But that front pack, I'll tell you what, that will get broken up in pit stop fades, no doubt. Especially if they do that two-stop strategy, we'll see some undercuts come out, but it doesn't look like it so far. No one has pulled the trigger just yet.
Now, here's something like interesting to note. Looks like Maxime B is very, very close to the back of his teammate CEST as Zamas, first one to pull into the pits off of those soft compound tires. But yeah, I get the feeling that Maxime might be getting slightly held up. And speaking of getting held up, looks like, well, Yama, he still hasn't been able to find that move to really make it past Chris in this stage of the race.
I don't think Chris is using any ERS, Mick. He's still stuck at 100%. He hasn't had to use it, though. I think he's in that much control of this race at the moment. He hasn't had to use it. Meanwhile, Fritzen's just stuck there. He's on around 80%, and Yamamoto is really using his ERS to make sure he can hold on to this P2.
Well, just scrolling through the top 7 at the moment, all the ERS levels are very, very close. As Rhapsody, the first of the front runners to pick up a 3-second time penalty, getting turn 11 just a little bit wrong. And that is going to be a 3-second time penalty for the Brazilian. And we hope, sir, we hope that isn't a precursor of things to come, because once you get that first time penalty, it is very, very easy to get another one within the next few laps, especially at a circuit like this. And he's going for that undercut.
Called it. Yep. He's called it early. I feel like that's the right play, especially with that time penalty. You need to do something. You don't want to push yourself too hard, because when you get that time penalty, as you said, you tend to get it really early. Is you're just trying to fight back some time from losing those 3 seconds that you get. It just tends to play in your mind a bit, but you have to just focus on keeping it clean. Honestly, I'd prefer to lose 2/10 a lap than lose 3 seconds every 3 laps.
Well, mathematically, that is the better option, as Yama still within that 2/10 gap. But it's at this point, Seb, lap 9 of 36. These softs have very, very little grip left. I don't care how much you've been trying to manage them, they are nowhere near their best. The mediums are definitely the faster tire, and the undercut is really powerful. Rhapsody, he has that clean air, and he's going to have that clean air through the technical bits in sectors 2 and 3. So who is going to respond to this? I feel like some of these front runners really have to respond. I'm looking at, you know, Chris, but he hasn't used that battery. I don't know what his game plan is. Is he going to go another lap again and use that battery to protect the undercut? Who knows at this stage? But I expect Yama to go in. I expect, you know, maybe even Karma to go in. Let's see what happens. Chris is in. Yama stays out. Fritzen's in as well. Karma's in. Sejos in. And Maxime stays out. So from those lead pack, 4 of them are into the pits, and we'll now jump back on board with Rhapsody to see how things are going for this undercut attempt. He's making his way through the stadium section now, Seb. This is going to be close. Oh,
yeah, it looks like they're doing that 2-stop strategy. That looks like Rhapsody I'm not sure he might get through here. He might pip some of them. Looks
I think he
like
might get
he'll
all
pip
of them.
Jeez.
He might get all of them, Seb.
I thought they all got out of the pits earlier, but they clearly did it. He's got all of them apart from Chris. Wow. And what's that going to mean for Yamamoto? He's going to drop so far behind these guys, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's got to drop like a stone, and that's the last thing that he needed when he really needs that points haul against CEST. We did miss a little bit of a battle happening up front. Vischer now up into 9th place with those pit stops. Chasing down Holtz still. There was a massive clump there with BTFU, Summit and Gabox before on that mini-map. Summit getting a bit better of that exchange. So now the two hard runners, Seb, in 3rd and 4th. What does this mean for their strategy? Like, they're just going to keep going and maybe praying for that safety car that could come out at any stage and really capitalize on that.
Yeah, that would be the hope for them. However, they are in a good position here. They are about 10 seconds up the road from the provisional P1 battle.
Fritzen, massive dive into the stadium. He pushes Zamis off the track at turn 12. Sorry to just cut you off there, Seb. But Zamis, he manages to hold on. Fritzen, he used that overtake. He used the DRS. He's on these fresher tyres. He's got an undercut from the Ferrari in front. And there's a lot of pace trapped behind this Ferrari. He has lost so much time to the guys ahead of him. I don't know if he had a wing change or something happened in this pit stop. But there he goes. Inside line against this Ferrari. Mercedes versus Ferrari. Just as you like to see it, cleanly before the braking zone, and he is up into 11th place, but he's lost 3 seconds to the McLaren, so he has lost a lot of time in the pit stops.
He's going to have to get on with it. He can do it. I believe he can. He might be able to make
well.
something. Ooh, yeah. He's got Yamamoto's come out behind Rhapsody and Chris, so he's only lost 1 position from that pit stop phase, but that's due to Fritzen getting wing damage, potentially due to Yamamoto's defensive move into turn 4.
Yeah, that might have been it, actually. So we have a yellow flag, one of the Haas around. It's Cheery, having a little bit of it off at turn 4 and 5, but it looks like the Haas driver has gotten things underway. Now, crucially for the young Mexican in that Williams car, he has gotten ahead of his championship rival. He is ahead of CEST at the moment. And that is just all that he cares about right now. You know, that's who he should be looking for. I know he wants this race win. I mean, who doesn't want to win their home race, Seb? But thinking about the championship, he needs to make sure that that papaya orange McLaren right behind him stays behind him for the remaining 25 laps of this race.
Yeah, that's what you want, but he's got to make sure he keeps a cool head now. Keep doing what he's been doing, which has been a good drive so far, apart from that one little move into turn 4, which I keep bringing up, but he can do this. He can hold off CEST.
Vischer looking around the outside of turn 1. Yeah, I don't know. That's but he's gotten the exit, but I don't know if it's quite good enough. He's using that overtake. He's using that DRS, the slipstream. He's got the speed. Looking to the outside for turn number 4. Late on the brakes is the AlphaTauri. He has to leave the room. Fizzimon trying to hold it in there, but he gets squeezed out there from the AlphaTauri, and Vischer, the Chilean, now ahead of the sister team at Red Bull. Red Bull's running 17th and 19th at the moment, so all that praise from the solid qualifying performance and the early race has not held up well, Seb, at all at this stage of the race.
Yeah, as just a correction from before, I said Yamamoto lost 1 position. No, he's lost 2, because Karma and Rhapsody are ahead of him, but both of them have time penalties. So we'll see how that's worked out. Yamamoto's now in DRS range, or he was not
Karma
out of
doesn't
DRS
have it.
before. Yeah,
Karma
he doesn't have it. Yep.
Yamo looking, he's gaining, it's now 2.5 tenths. If he can get a car between himself and CEST, that would give him the pace that he needs. He needs to make it past Karma right now, and he knows it. He's got that overtake on, coming out of the corner. DRS, he's using absolutely everything. Karma going extremely defensive to the inside, but Yama, he doesn't care. He's going around the outside, just like we saw the lap prior from Vischer, and Fizzimon again squeezing him out, but looks like Karma, he's trying to hold it there, switch back through turn 6. Has he got the traction? No! No, he hasn't. Yama, the Mexican now into P7. Got the car between himself and CEST into the S section, and now he's even caught up to DRS of those guys ahead. That is exactly what he needs, but CEST, can he find the answer? No, he can't. Not into this first stadium section, Seb.
Yeah, I don't know what Calm was doing, being so nice to Yamamoto. Yamamoto ascending the inside of Holtz. Oh, put that to music, Mick. Haha, turn 13, how do you do?
That is a huge move. Absolutely huge there for Yama. He's now got 2 cars. Holtz now, I think, might be diving into the pits. Yes, he is. He's released them, but that is a massive gap. And I think Karma, he got the DRS off Holtz, but he hasn't got that 1 second gap that he needs. Well, that under 1 second gap that he needs to Yama to really just stay with him. So now CEST really needs to get past this Haas driver.
Oh yeah, but Karma does have that DRS, so he might be able to hold on to it for just 1 more lap longer. But yeah, like I said before, I don't understand why Karma was so nice to Yamamoto into the turn 4 braking zone. Yamamoto certainly didn't pay that back into turn 5 where he just pushed him off the track. All in fair though, had the inside line, had track position, he was allowed to do it. So yeah, it's just not working out for Karma at the moment, but he is back in DRS range and he needs to stay there if he wants to hold off CEST.
Looks like Casquito and Gabox having a little bit of a tussle, as well as Vischer and Fizzimon yet again. Fizzimon really putting as much pressure as he can on that AlphaTauri car, but just isn't quite enough to get it to crack. But it looks like Chris, our net race leader, is coming up to some traffic set.
But this should be an easy overtake as long as he doesn't get held up too much. It doesn't look like it. He's not losing too much time. To absolutely behind is BTFU Pits. I believe he's the first of some idiot and Melik. Actually, well, no, those are the 2 hard runners, I should say. So he looks like he'll pit onto the hards BDFU and he'll go to the end of the race from here on out.
Now, Chris is in such a strong position at the moment. He even got DRS on BTFU as he was coming into the pit lane, but he's got a 1.7 second gap to Rhapsody behind. Rhapsody's got a penalty as well. Rhapsody's holding up Yama to boot, but I actually don't know how much longer that statement's gonna be true. Yama, he's got the run on the Brazilian. Mexico versus Brazil. Hello, up the inside this time into turn 4. And now Yama has some clean air, but he's got no battery. He's got no battery to really push, and now the gap's 2 seconds, 2.1 even, after that lock up into turn 6, 7. But as I was saying, Chris, he's in a very strong position. 2 seconds now, the gap. Yama, now he's right behind him, but he's got no resources. Chris has got about 50, 60% battery. We'll have a quick look. Yeah, 60, and he's using that there. And he's looking in like he's in a very, very strong position for this race, at least at the moment.
Yeah, just the more I think of his incident with Fritz, and the more I think there's a high chance he gets a penalty there. It's just, we'll have to wait and see what the stewards say, but it's a bit of a topsy-turvy one, but he has got that cushion of that 3 second time for Rhapsody there. He's got to make use of being in front though. He's got to try and claw in Chris here.
Well, it looks like there's a little bit more clawing going on. Karma trying to get as close as he can. Rhapsody has that red light flashing. The energy recovery system is in full utilization. And it is below 10% charge there. That's what that red flashing light means. So Rhapsody might be vulnerable. He has the DRS off Yama to try and keep him in this fight. But Karma, he's right on the back of him, and looks like CEST as well. Yama's really parking the bus here. I don't know if it's just a lack of pace on these medium tires without that DRS and the slipstream, or if it's just the sheer power of that rear wing opening and that that drafted air, that air that's been pushed to the side of these very aerodynamic Formula 1 cars. But he's not really pulling the gap that he really needs to.
Yeah, but he does. I'll tell you what, he pulls it a lot in that second sector. As someone's around, that looks like Will Gibson,
Will
is it?
Gibson, yeah, Will Gibson. Looks like Striffen was actually very close to him as well. Will Gibson out of the pits on the hard compound tires, so it looks like he's planning to go to the end of this race, but he's a long way off any points.
Yeah, some idiot Melik going at it. This is down into turn 1 for P1, not provisional, but looking like some idiot going to take the move on Melik, and that's pretty easy for him. Melik has the time penalty to his name, so I don't think he'll fight that too much, but these two are playing the long game, and they've got Chris behind them about 5 seconds down the road.
Well, Fritzen has just caught up to the two McLarens. He's passed Maxime B into turn 1. So, and he's got that DRS again, because there's only one detection point, ladies and gentlemen. There's only that one detection point, as Fritzen says, the purple first sector. There's only that one detection point around turns 14 and 15 that they have to worry about. There's actually a lot of squabbling going on behind them. Oh, it's the three-car battle for P11 in this race. BTFU ahead, has the inside, misses the apex slightly, but Gabox and Casquito going side by side into turn 5. Once again, we see the squeeze through turn 5 and 6, but Casquito is keeping his nose in there. He's got the run into turn... Oh my goodness, they gotta go side by side. No, Casquito backs out of it, thankfully. But that's given Vischer the run. Oh, he's right on the back. All of these guys, Fizzymon and Holtz, exchanging as well right behind them. This train is absolutely huge for this 11th place at the moment.
Yeah, meanwhile, all that's happening, Fritzen is back within DRS range of that top running pack. I'm not sure he actually has DRS, but he is within it. So that's a big sign, big move from the Mercedes reserve.
Yes, that is very, very crucial. Let's have a little look at this fight for 12th place at the moment. BT, he looks like he's run away with those fresh soft compound tyres that he pitted on a couple of laps ago. Now Casquito and Vischer have the slipstream, have the DRS. Gabox is a sitting duck here. Casquito looking for the outside at turn 1. Vischer trying to follow him through. Looks like Gabox closes the point. Lee opens it again. He's gotten a horrible run through the first 3 corners, Seb. Now Vischer has that DRS. Fizzymon, can he follow him through as well? No, he's not quite close enough, but he goes for the time. Oh my goodness! Holt's almost running to the back of his teammate there. But he's side by side now with the Red Bull of Fizzymon. They're still going side by side, Seb, going through this first technical bit.
Holt's a bit close for comfort, nearly running to the back of Gabox. He's just having a rough time of it. Holt's obviously on those fresher softs, so he's obviously going to have a lot more grip, but pushing Fizzymon through the corners, just as Fizzymon was to him in turn 5.
I will say Fizzymon aren't quite close, a gap up to the Flying Canadian. Not the highest running Canadian that we have on the screen at the moment, but you know, after his legendary performance in Hungary of this season, how can you not remember that name, sir? How can you not remember a name like that? He's shown some great success as well in the Americas Tier 2 division. I believe he finished 3rd in that race yesterday. And we'll see how he's doing. He's doing a solid job for the Alfa Romeos. No points, but both Alfa Romeos doing a fairly solid job at this stage.
Yeah, you'd think Gabox might let Holtz through at this stage, just because he's on pressure on his Gabox.
Oh my goodness.
Gee, you want to flirt with danger a bit more? That was very, very close to losing it. Good car control though. Benefit of the doubt just to hold on to that. Well, now he's let Holtz through.
Seb, that's one way to let your teammate pass, that's for sure.
Very eventful though, a bit hairy. The hair will stand on the back of your neck and you'll get a bit shaky after that. Now you go will be a bit damaged, but...
No, he had it under control. All calculated, just for the
all
fans.
Part of the plan.
For the fans.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Vic, Fritzen within that. He's well within that DRS range. Seajoss is very close to Karma. Seajoss got a good run. He's using that ERS. He's got that DRS. Karma, although has that DRS,
is it going to be enough?
Some ERS.
Is it going to be enough?
Exactly.
Enough? He's gaining. He's looking for it. I don't think so.
It's just not enough. That DRS is so strong, and this is what I mean. This train is held very well. I'm surprised it's stuck together considering with all these undercuts that's happened.
Oh, look at this. Vischer putting on display just how strong this DRS and slipstream is. Absolutely breezes past Casquito. Casquito has no choice but to let the AlphaTauri go. And he's got to watch out for Holtz on these. Well, they're not really fresh anymore, but fresher soft compound tyres behind him. 5 laps old, they're going to... Oh, look at the speed. Look at the speed from this... He's called the Flying Canadian for the reason. He looks to the outside. Ooh. Hello, that's not a... We've seen that move work a couple of times.
It can work. You have to really outbrake it, and you have to have those front tyres hook up, and just you need to have the respect of the other car as well to give you space into turn 5, but it didn't look like Casquito wanted to give space into turn 4 at all, so looks like he's going to have to wait behind for another lap.
Yeah, and BCFU all over the back of Zamis as well as Fizzymon all over the back of a Gabox going through the S section. We'll have a look at BCFU as he makes his way through. Actually, is Fritzen gaining? Oh, he's not. I don't think he's going to be quite
saving
close
ERS. Yeah, I think he understands he's saving ERS at the moment. Just biding his time behind Seajoss.
Oh, look at the speed from this AlphaTauri. The 2 Americans. They've been here since, well, basically day 1, Seb. These 2 are OGs here of the Misfits, Zamis and BTFU. having a scrap there for the final points place. The Alpha Terra getting ahead of the Ferrari, using those softs to good effect. And it looks like Holtz as well, the Alfa Romeo, getting a past Casquito as well on the softs. So these softs, while they're, they are aging a little bit, they are showing some great pace, but Gavox picking up a 3-second time penalty. And there are a lot of penalties already on this grid set. We'll have a quick look at the penalties. A lot of 6 seconds, a lot of 3 seconds, most of them in the back half of this grid. But these, if there's a safety car late in the race, we've seen it happen before. We've seen it in other leagues as well. I'm sure you can remember from your esteemed league racing history that these penalties can play a huge role at an end of the race, especially at a track like Mexico.
Oh, they always haunt you. I know specifically a race we did here, a salesman car, where I had a penalty at the end of the race. It ended up costing me a win to you.
Yes, I remember that one.
all the drivers here, apart from Striffy and Melik and Idiot, have done one stop. I expect some Idiot and Melik to get their pit stop out of the way soon, especially when Chris passes them. That's when I'd expect they would come in for their pit stop and go into the medium tyres, especially because these soft tyres tend to die off after about 6-7 laps. But we're just seeing the race kind of die down from there, not at the front, but in terms of overtakes, it is
like
kind of slow.
Getting the blue flags. Unfortunate to see him lapped at this stage of the race. He's done very well to keep that car going. Very, very nice to see. We always want to see drivers finishing the races. Even if they are, in last place, you still want to finish that race because, I don't know, you want to say you finished it.
Yeah, it's always a much better feeling when you finish a race after a disappointing one and just giving up early and just kind of wasting your time at the end of the day. You can always come back from, especially with a late safety car. Throw in Hungary once again, because that was a brilliant race with a late safety car and some late rain drama. Although this is a dry race, we will not be getting any rain. But Fritzen, meanwhile, peace out. He's got a great run on CEST. He's using the ERS. He's got that DRS. CEST does have that DRS as well. He's so close. Look at that, Mika. Looking around the outside. He'll try and get that inside of turn 2 and outside of turn 3. He's going to swoop around the outside of CEST. CEST's going to try and hold on to it. Doesn't look like
he's trying. He's trying. It's him.
Oh, it's close. But Fritzen with the outside line and the traction will get by. That's a key move in the context of this race, Mika.
Yes, and it's a crucial move in the context of this championship as well. Yama now has an extra car between himself and CEST. Yama there up in third. He's doing absolutely amazingly at his home race. The only Mexican on the grid because Angel, unfortunately, not in attendance. But Melik out on these medium tyres, Seb. He's in 9th place. He's a long way off of Maxine B. As Chris now getting past Some Idiot now. So Chris has now made up a pit stop gap on Some Idiot there. Very nicely done.
They will have to stop again, these front runners.
Some Idiot's got a puncture.
Oh, does he?
He's got a puncture and that front left is gone. So after 22
this is
laps...
going to hold up all these cars behind us. It's just going to allow Chris a bit more extra space.
2.4 seconds to Yama there. Yama does get the DRS off of his teammate for the evening to at least help with Rhapsody behind. But 8% battery. Rhapsody isn't doing too much better. Neither is Fritzen or CEST. We can see that ERS is very, very hard to regain at a circuit like this. All these guys pushing to the absolute limit. But that 2-second gap is going to be absolutely just amazing. Amazing for Chris.
Yeah. It allows him just to do an overcut, and it means he doesn't have to pit potentially to traffic. He won't. I don't think he will, considering where Melik is on the track. That is just about where he would come out.
Some Idiot coming out in a little bit of traffic, gets pushed off extremely wide by Casquito, but will get the move done nonetheless on the fresh softs, as well as Karma in 9th place, also going onto the fresh soft compound tyres to hopefully make it to the end of this race. 13 laps.
Ooh, that's very optimistic. Yeah, it's very optimistic. He's certainly looking to jump a lot of these front runner drivers early on, but how will that pay out by the end of the race? We'll see.
We'll need to get past Holtzman, and you can just see the amount of speed that is trapped behind this Alfa Romeo at the moment. He's just literally like pushing him. There's a yellow flag. I do believe that might be Striffium again. I don't entirely know. It must be because Zamis is just up the road. Yeah, unfortunate to see Striffium have another little spin. There we go. Somebody gets past one. He now has Vischer right in front of him. It's another yellow flag. Will Gibson struggling there in the start of sector 2.
Karma has stayed ahead of Yamamoto and Sejos, who have lost. Look like they're about to lose nearly a second on him.
Yama has been undercut massively here by Karma. And Somebody now making his way past. Oh, he's like pushing. He gets past one on the straight and he's literally pushing Vischer through the corners. Those fresh softs have so much speed. And this is why, Seb, this is why the two-stop is the favorite strategy. Because all these guys aren't even worn mediums. They have to be really careful. I expect that Chris and, well, at least one of the Mercedes have to come in. They can't both come in now. This is going to be very, very interesting come the end of this race. But Chris stays out one more time. Rhapsody, he comes into the pits. Fritzen stays out. No surprises there. Does Maxime B come in? Yes, he does. He does to respond to the undercuts of those around him. But all eyes on Rhapsody. And
Look at the gaps around the circuit. Look at that gap from Fritzen to Chris. Let's see where the Mercedes and McLaren driver come out.
Karma setting fastest lap. He is clear of Rhapsody by a massive margin.
Yeah, look at Melik. He is. I know he probably get overtaken by these soft runners, but considering he was starting at the back of the grid along with some idiot, he's in a great position here to score some good points and potentially be in the middle of this pack. He's on the same, or just slightly older medium tyres, but those medium tyres may come to life at the end of the stint where these softs die.
If you're Chris right now and you see that purple heads-up display come up, that Karma is setting, what was that, a 14? 1 minute 14? And you're lapping around like the 1 minute 15s, 1 minute 16s, that is going to be sending a chill down your spine. He needs to come in.
This is, yeah, he has to come in this lap.
Yeah, he needs to. He has to. There's no way. There's no. And there he goes. He comes in into the pit lane. Fritzen, I assume, will do the same. So Melik will take lead of things, but Karma is in that DRS range. Has Chris and Fritzen, both of them together, because they're both trying to get ahead of these guys. This train going through the stadium now. Have they done enough to hold on to this lead, or at least be within touching distance? It doesn't look like it. Karma, he's going to have the DRS of Chris's teammate, no less. He is clear. He is so far clear of Chris. Chris now just coming out of the pit lane. He's going to lose it to Sejos as well.
Keep in mind, these guys ahead have penalties. I'll give a quick check of CRG Chris's penalty situation himself. But there's going to be a tight one. Chris has one warning to his name early on in the early stages of the race. That was lap 6.
Yeah, so he's been okay for the best part of 22 laps. As Karma got fighting with Melik now. We're seeing those softs really come into their own, and that's Karma, the Argentinian in that Haas car, leading this race on lap 27 of 36. 10 laps to go, including the current lap, Seb. And it's going to be an absolutely thrilling 10 laps. Most of this grid on fresh softs. It's going to be a 10-lap sprint to the end, ladies and gentlemen. If you're excited there, smash that follow button. It really helps us out there. Consider subscribing as well if you want to have an ad-free experience here on the MRL. That really helps us out and might even go towards a prize pool in the next season. And of course, a massive shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing as well. And this is the racing that we all want. Karma now has clear air. Melik right behind him.
Traction.
Melik has no asphalt. There's just nothing.
It's just, you expect those medium tyres to fire up in a couple of laps so we can give him a bit of slack for the
Chris.
moment.
Here he goes around the outside of turn 1. Rhapsody's going to try and follow him through. Massive lock up there for Sejos into turn 1. Chris gets the better run through those first few corners. Sejos gets a decent run. I don't know if it's going to quite be enough as Fizimon, the last of the pitters, onto his final set of soft combat tires. Now it's Rhapsody up the inside of Sejos heading into turn 4 and 5. Takes the AstroTurf, but gets the move done anyway. And there's a tap! Oh my goodness! Rhapsody and Sejos come together. Oh no! That is the last thing both of these guys needed.
Look what that's meant for Fritzen and somebody. They've dropped off so much to Chris now. So now it's just a 3-horse race for P1. Sorry, 4-horse race for P1. As Melik is now dropping positions to Chris. That's teammate on teammate right there. You expect that to happen. That's good teamwork right there. But my lord, that was some. They were banging wheels, Mikhail, and you could kind of see that happening with how much they were banging wheels.
Yeah, Gabox, the first retirement in the pit lane, but his AI car is coming out here on the circuit, and it's a long straight, and it's going to be a slow-moving car. Hopefully all the drivers are able to navigate it just fine, as Fritzen side by side with some idiot now, and he will easily make that move. Or actually, no, he goes deep. He goes deep into turn 1, Seb, and some idiot is going to take that place right back and going to get an 8/10 gap to boot, but he will. The Indian there in that Mercedes is going to have the DRS there to help him go through.
Sorry, Yamamoto and Karma going at it. Yamamoto down the inside. They were rubbing wheels in turn 4. Yamamoto going to steal the race lead from Karma. He went for a send down the inside of turn 4. Karma said no, but he went for that switch back into turn 5. And that was brilliant driving from Yamamoto.
Yeah, we call it tail end of that one, and now it's the Yama, the hometown hero, trying to win this race, and Karma gets another 3 seconds. On lap 29, cuts turn 11, just a little bit too much, Seb, and that is going to be huge for the end of this race.
But crucially, here's the thing, Melik has 6 seconds as well, Fritzen has 3, he could still potentially get a P4 spot. I'm not sure he'll get a P3 because Chris is so on it right now. He is so on it. Look at him, he's got the ERS, he's right there with him, he had some great traction out of the final corner, and he's going to get on a charge here, Mikhail.
Well, I hope the Mexican fans aren't looking, because it looks like the race win is going to be fully in America's court. Up the inside! Massive dive there from the American in that racing point, and he's going to make it work. Oh my goodness, wow! Nick. Such confidence on the brakes.
The Karma's coming back at him though, Mick. Karma's having a look down the outside. He's getting squeezed into the grass. Oh, he's going to try and hold on to, but Chris has that superiority of fresher tyres. Oh, Mick, put this race to music.
It's absolutely crazy. And it isn't just for the top spots as well. The two McLarens very, very close together. As is a Zamis on a Fizzymon down there in 14th place. And all these guys are on soft compound tyres. They're on lighter fuel, soft compound tyres for the last 10 or so laps. We have 7 laps remaining, including the current lap. That's Casquito, unfortunately, they're retiring in the pit lane. But my oh my, there is a lot of positions to play for throughout this race. Seb Fritzen, 3 and a bit tenths behind Melik. Melik, one of the only runners not on these soft compound tyres, and he has dropped like a stone in these past couple of laps, Seb.
Yeah, look at Fritzen. Fritzen with a great run. Not sure Melik's going to have anything in his bag to be able to...
No, he can't do it. Fritzen. Can't do anything.
Yeah, he can't do anything. If I didn't even get pipped by some idiot by the end of turn... by the run down to turn 4, I should say. But it's not looking like those soft tyres are going to die anytime soon.
We'll see what he's able to do. DRS, he's using everything left in that battery pack. He's got the speed. Melik goes defensive in the middle of the track. Somebody looks around the outside, locks up massively. That front left just skidding across the tarmac, Seb. But he's got the switch back through turn 5, outside and inside for turn 6. We're seeing a master at work. Somebody at one of the most experienced league racers on the screen. A little bit of a tap there. You can see the sportsmanship that he's got there. Lets Melik back through, but that could be costly for the final result in this race, because he's going to be stuck behind this racing point through the most aerodynamically demanding, for lack of a better phrase there, part of the track. And he's not able to get it done through turn 12, but can he look for 13? Ooh. No, Melik goes defensive once again. This is on track for 5th place, ladies and gentlemen, as Chris is slowly but surely gaining on Yama, looking for that win, not just on penalties, but on track as well.
Yeah, somebody's got to make this move done. Oh, that was very kind of him before. Melik, what is he doing? That was very interesting. He's cost himself a time penalty. He hasn't cost himself a position. That was long gone before the straight even happened. But now somebody's got some work to do. He's going to have to make sure he stays within that 3 seconds to keep up with Fritzen. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Melik just getting very close. He's going to have to keep up with Fritzen here. Oh, Fritzen all over the back of Karma. He's got that DRS. Doesn't have that ERS. Same with Karma. Karma's a bit more than him. This is a great race so far.
Absolutely amazing. Visha now into the pit lane off of those 4 lap soft compound tyres. Don't know exactly why he'd be in the pits. We'll have a quick look. Looks like he is serving a 5 seconds, maybe? I don't know. It was a very slow stop there for the AlphaTauri guys. So not quite sure why Visha is in the pits, but that does mean that all the points hopes lie on BTFU, but he's in basically a race of his own. The only car that's near him is Striphium, and well, Striphium's a lap down at this rate, but Fritzen and Karma going toe to toe, wheel to wheel into turn number 13. It looks like Karma is going to get ahead, but has he done that move too early? Now Fritzen is going to have the DRS, and we've seen all race long how powerful it is. Look at the speed, Seb!
He can run a DRS though. He will run a DRS. Karma's not going to fight it. Karma is not fighting it. Why can't Karma be playing the long game here?
I don't know. 8-lap old softs. He's going to be losing grip. Lock up there. And it looks like Chris, he's dropping off a little bit. He's dropping off a little bit at the end of this race. We have 4 laps remaining. This is lap 33 of 36, ladies and gentlemen. Leave your predictions in the chat. Who has got this race? Is Chris going to be able to keep it clean for the last few laps? Or is the pressure going to get to him? And is he going to get those final 2 or so warnings that he needs to really give that, just hand that win to Yama? We've seen it happen before, that the pressure just gets to him. And it's, well, there's fights going all down this grid. Looks like that fight for 13, or 12, I should be saying, is heating up as well, Seb. That's something else to keep your eye on as they make their way down the second DRS straight on this track.
Yeah, indeed. Zamis close to Gabby with Holtz behind. Holtz has been fairly active in this race, but we got a bit of a tight-knit group.
Oh, Striphium around
11.
again.
Ooh.
Oh, it's not been his race, Seb.
Yeah, it hasn't, but it's very happy to see him keep going. That's great resilience right there. Keeps making mistakes, but he keeps getting back up, so you can't knock him for that.
No, absolutely not. And that is something that has to be commended. You know, unlike, I don't know what happened with Casquito or Gabox, but Striphium, even though he's a lap down all the way through to 14th, have lapped him now in this race, he is still pushing forward. He is still going for it, even though there's no points of it. He just wants to finish this race after not finishing in USA. But now, 3 laps remain. No more safety cars for the remainder of this race. 3/10 is the gap between Fritzen and Chris. They both have been gaining, but if Fritzen fights with Chris just enough, he might force Chris into that pressure, force him into those mistakes that Yama needs for Chris to get that 3-second time penalty. I don't know how Chris is going.
I'll tell you what, Fritzen is really lighting up this track. He is on fire at the moment, Mick. He is sticking so close to Chris right now. He maintained that 3/10 gap through that S section while losing 20% of his downforce. That just shows how good he is on right now. And you just think, imagine if he didn't lose that front wing to Yamamoto early on in that race, what he could be doing right now. Would he even have that time penalty to his name?
Well, Chris has gotten a nice exit, but he's low on battery now. That's something I haven't said yet this race. Chris is low on battery, ladies and gentlemen. 4/10 is the gap. Slipstream. DRS 3.5. Now down to 3. He's gaining. He's gaining. He's going to go for it, Seb. He's going to go for it up the inside into the first corner, but it isn't quite going to be enough. But he's going to try and get the exit that he needs for the run into turn 4. I don't know if he's done enough, Seb. It doesn't quite look like it. But that's lost Chris a little bit of time yet again.
Yeah, he'll go for that last lap lunge. That could make Chris lose that win here. I just wonder if he could have just pitted that lap earlier. We know he had that gap to the field, but Yamamoto pitted early. So did Karma. I just wonder if maybe it would have been a bit of a wise decision to pit that lap earlier, just to dull the effect of that undercut just that little bit more.
Bizimon, another 3-second time penalty. We'll have a quick look at the penalties for a brief moment while we are looking on board there as Visha retiring into the pit lane. There's quite a few penalties all the way down the screw, but the ones to keep your eyes on are those top 3. 3 seconds for first, which is the hometown hero Yama. 3 seconds for Fritzen. Chris, he has at least 1 warning, so I don't know if he's picked up any more since then.
Look how close he is, Mick.
Oh my goodness, and Fritzen, he's closer now. He's like at least 2, maybe 3/10 closer, going into the final lap of this race. Here, outside line. This could be what Yama needs to take the win. Oh my goodness, I'm losing my voice here, Seb. Take the win here at his home track. And he's through.
They're not fighting enough though. Chris is so smart that he just lets him by. He doesn't need to fight him. He understands that these two have 3-second time penalties. He doesn't need to fight them. He doesn't have to fight them. He won't win it on track, but he'll win it on countback and time penalties. Oh.
Well, he's got realistically 1 more section to go. This final S section, he's done well, but he can't lose sight of what's at stake here. He's got the win here. He's got this win in the bag. He's being very, very safe with those track limits. You can see him losing a little bit of time lifting through, and he's made it through, Seb. But we're right on board with Yama, because, you know, hometown hero. He's going to win the race on track as he comes through the stadium section. You can now see the yellow, white, and red confetti as Yama. He's driven superbly, but a couple of mistakes here and there meant a 3-second time penalty. He's going to settle for P2, but it is Chris. Chris now. He wins the race there in Mexico. Yama in second, Fritzen in third. Samir from last on this grid shows the prowess that he has, the experience that he has. He's going to take that 4th place position as well. Maxime B, 5th place for McLaren. Karma that drops down to 6 after those 6 seconds time penalty. Sejos in 7th. So that is huge news for Yama in that fight for the runner-up spot in the championship. Rhapsody in 8th, Malik in 9th, and BTFU will round off the top 10 with that last point there. Zamis will get Fizimon on penalties in 11th place. Gabizum in 12th. Holtz in 13th. Fizimon in 14th. Churi will come across in 15th. Will Gibson in 16th, a lap down. Vischer and Strifium as well, 17th and 18th. Those two being classified with Casquito and Gabox, the only two not to be classified in this Mexican Grand Prix. But Seb, I don't know if you can tell from how much I've lost my voice here. That is absolutely crazy race, and well done from all of our podium sitters today. Hopefully we'll get interviews with all 3 of them here this evening. But just what a race, and what a race from somebody as well. 20th to 4th, from 20th on the grid on those hard tires to 4th place on that one stop. Amazing job there from all these guys. But you can just see the character of Chris there leaping up there in celebration, and that surely, after he was so close yet so far last week, it's going to mean the world to him here.
Oh, yeah. Just a note, I believe Sejos and Yama are now tied on points in the championship. It's a 12-point difference right there. None of them have fastest lap, so two races to go, Mick, and that P2 bout is very close.
It is indeed, but we'll go through the standings one more time before we head off to interviews. So it is Chris taking the race win here from second on the grid with a total race time of 47 minutes, 20 seconds and a .580. Yama, the hometown hero, he couldn't quite make it work. He won on track, but that 3-second time penalty that he picked up costing him the win. I'm sure he will reflect on that one heading into Mexico next week. Fritzen, the Mercedes reserve driver, will round off the podium. Last week's race winner, once again, a fantastic performance there from the Indian driver. Somebody from 20th on this grid at the in-game driver of the day, and I mean, I can't argue with that. 20th to 4th. Amazing effort there. Hard to soft, doing the one stop. He will take the 4th place in this race. Maxime B, 5th place, the highest scoring Canadian there for McLaren, up from 10th on this grid, so a nice effort there from him. Karma in 6th place for Haas. Sejos down in 7th. He loses 2 positions from his grid slot, as does Rhapsody down from 6th to 8th, the Brazilian in that Mercedes car. Melek, the Mexican reserve driver, the only other Mexican on this grid for Racing Point. He goes from 11th to 9th place after a 12 seconds of penalties there. And BCFU, keeping it clean, will take the final point for AlphaTauri. Then we have Zamis and Gabizum 11th and 12th for Ferrari and Red Bull. Then we have Holtz in 13th, Fizimon 14th, Churi 15th, Will Gibson in 16th, a lap down, and then Vischer and Strifium 2 laps down, with Casquito and Gabox unable to finish this race. But Seb, I am out of words for that race. Just incredible, amazing, intense, and down to the wire. That's how I'd sum up this race. I don't know if you have any other thoughts to go along with that.
I think you need more superlatives to go with that, but normally the best way to sum it up in my words is put that to music, because that was great. You could clip that up and montage that, because that was a great race, Mick, and I'd love to watch that again.
Yeah, so I feel sorry for any of those guys who have to make the highlights out of this one, because that might as well put the whole 40 minutes in there at this point. Just highlight the whole race. But we do thankfully have all 3 of our podium sitters here for an interview, so we'll get those underway. We'll start with last week's race winner, but this week it is only good enough for 3rd place. It is, of course, the reserve driver Fritzen. Fritzen, Again, an amazing, amazing race there, all the way down to the final couple of laps. Just run us through your race and how you're feeling after that third place finish.
Yeah, qualifying was good, but the race, the start, Chris just got an amazing start. So I tried fighting it, but in the end I had to leave space, and Chris just went round the outside of me. So I let that happen, and then Yama got me, and so yeah, I was in third, and I was gonna try and make my way up. I didn't know how good my pace was gonna be, so then I went for a move on Yama, and then I didn't expect him to move to the inside that late, and I picked up the line wing damage. So as the race went on in the first stint, just the understeer kept getting worse and worse through the S's, so I had to replace it if I wanted to keep up with the guys. So I replaced it, and then I got a penalty by my own accord. So yeah, disappointed with that, but yeah, we can't change anything now. But it was a good race.
Yeah, so that explains the unusually slow pistol. We did miss the fact that you were indeed changing that wing. But just how was that? This is one of the tracks where the two stop is the more viable one, and that really opens yourself up to overtaking. We saw a couple drivers try the one stop, particularly those hard runners like Melik and somebody at there trying that one stop. Just how was that? Having a track where you can actually sort of like overtake fairly easily.
Yeah, I was just trying to save my ear as much as possible, and like it really paid off for me because I got to spend a lot of it because I saw a lot of the people were like having the red light flashing, meaning they were like really low in ERS. So I just used the DRS to my what's the word to
To your advantage, I think is trying to say.
my advantage, and then yeah, uh passed Chris on track, but I couldn't stay behind him much longer. And yeah, the two stop it was fun because we got to do a lot of overtaking.
Well, congratulations again on your third place finish, and well, hope to see you here very, very soon, whether that be in the last two rounds of the season or definitely next season as well. So, congratulations on your third place finish, Fritson, and well done.
Thank you.
We'll now go to the hometown hero, who I'm being told by Yama himself, 14 miles from the circuit, so really is the hometown hero. It was a win on track, but unfortunately, that 3-second time penalty, Yama, cost you that race win, but it must feel good at least to get on the podium at your home race. Just how was that from your perspective there today?
Yeah, it was a really long race. I still can't believe I made the podium after that really unlucky races, the past couple of races. Yeah, it feels good to be back. This feels like redemption. Hopefully, I can turn things around like this for the rest of the season.
Yeah, well,
And yeah,
yeah, two
go.
rounds left, and if Seb's calculations are correct, with CJOS finishing 7th, you two are now tied on points for that runner-up spot in going into Brazil and Abu Dhabi. So, how are you feeling? It's going down to the wire. How are you feeling going into
Yeah,
those two races, especially against, a driver who's been as consistent as CJOS has been of late? You get the one up on him here, but how are you feeling going to these last two rounds, knowing that it's this close with CJOS?
I mean, Brazil is not really a strong track for me, but I believe Abu Dhabi is still a pretty strong track for me. I'll just give it my best. I'll try to practice, adapt to the track, and then yeah, just score as much points as possible.
Well, before we say goodbye to you, I want to give a little message there for any Mexican or fans there who may be in the chat supporting you this evening.
Muchas gracias por venir al stream. Muchas gracias a todos. Thank you very much, Mikhail.
Well, congratulations on a second place finish at your home race, Yama, and be sure to savor that one, and all the best next week.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank everyone for coming out.
All right, now last but certainly not least, Seb, I'll let you take this one. We are interviewing our race winner, Chris. Chris, what a dominant, just completely in control first stint from you. Just couldn't quite get Fritzen in qualifying, but you made that start work to absolute perfection. Seb, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, like Mick said, Chris, congratulations, my friend. You were in absolute control. That was a great drive from yourself. Just walk us through that race start because that was very crucial, and also your strategy in the first stint because we saw you weren't using your EOS. Were you just trying
Alright.
to hold Fritzen behind Yamamoto? Was that the reasoning behind?
Um, yeah, so the start was really good. I got no wheel spin at all. And, you know, once that whole wheel spin phase was gone, I engaged the overtake, got alongside, and then midway down the straight, I looked down at my bottom right. I'm like, half of my ERS is already gone. God damn it. So then breaking into turn one, you know, that's why I say my ERS the entire first stint because I use half of my ERS down that main straight. And you know, battling with Fritzen, which was clean by the way from him, for the entire first sector. Yeah, and then the strategy for the first stint was just trying to regain the ERS I lost from the start. I regained that in a few laps, and yeah, I wasn't really trying to keep anybody behind anybody. I was more so just saving my ERS for my outlap. My outlap on the mediums. That's basically what I was saving my ERS for.
Yeah, that's a great drive once again, but you know, we saw that second pit stop phase, you got jumped by four of the drivers, I believe. Was that always the plan? Because they did have the penalties, and you were comfortable with your gap to I believe it was Fritzen and Rhapsody. I think it was just Fritzen actually who came in at the same time as you, but you had a comfortable gap to him. Was that always the plan, just to use the penalties to your advantage and just save those soft tires for that final stint?
Yeah, I mean, when I came, I was debating pitting on lap 20, like a lap. I was debating pitting a lap before I actually came into the pits. I think that's 25, and but then I was like, my soft tires died on lap 9 on my first stint, so I decided that I wasn't gonna risk the tires dying again, just like USA. So I was gonna go longer, and I knew that everybody behind me, except for Yamamoto, at the point that I pitted, had pens. So when I came into the pits, I expected Yama to have no pens, but when it came out, I noticed that he got a 3 second on his outlap, so that completely changed the game. And then yeah, so I was planning to use the penalties to my advantage, but also the fresh tires, like you said.
Yeah, just a final thing. You are 48 points behind BTFU in the championship at this standing right now. Obviously, you'll most likely grab P6 in the championship at the moment with your pace. But do you think you could maybe get BTFU if you were a bit lucky? He's obviously hasn't had a great race today, but he can always bounce back. He's been pretty consistent this season. Just want your thoughts on that at the moment.
I have no clue who anybody is in here, but um, but yeah, you know, Brazil is a good track for me. Abu Dhabi, maybe a race like today, like practice is going terribly, but then I may turn it around in a race. You know, I joined basically my season started at Singapore, so you know, if I can't get P6 while only doing like a third of the season, I'll be great. But yeah, BTFU, I've seen him show some good pace, like Belgium. I remember my first race, he was pretty quick there. So if he can recapture that pace, then definitely it will be a tough battle for P6. But I'm not really thinking about the standings. I'm more just doing this for some competition and some YouTube content.
Yeah, well, fair enough. And congratulations on a calculated drive in P1, man.
Thank you.
Well, Seb, that is all the time we have for today. And what we just, absolutely amazing race. Absolutely amazing race. And, unfortunately, we couldn't really get to see any of the Tier 3 race or the America's Tier 2. But as the first race that is being streamed here on MRL, this really sets the tone for Tier 2 tomorrow, which is at 8 p.m. BST, which is 3 p.m. Eastern. Tier 1 on Thursday, and then, of course, APAC on Sunday, as well as the F2s. So if any of those races are even close to the intensity that we saw here today, you'd be a fool to miss out on those other races. But Seb, any closing remarks before we end the stream here this evening?
Not really. I'm a bit lost for words, but you're devoid of a voice, so I might just end it at that.
Yes, well, thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to head over to Discord if you're looking to join the racing community here that we have at the MRL, and exclamation mark NLR in the chat to take you to our partners Next Level Racing to take your experience to the next level. That's all from Seb and I here today, and we will see you next time. Tier 2 tomorrow, 8 p.m. BST, 3 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully Stryfium and Unicorn will be there for what will hopefully be another entertaining race. We'll see you then, guys.